Right. Fairly easy, productive day actually. Okay, we're reaching the end point of this cookie cutter stuff. I spent most of the day tweaking and refining a set of scripts for running formula tests. Nothing particularly difficult about it. It was just a sort of iterative process of how do I go about this in order to make it simple and consistent. So you try something, and then you realise that when you come to do the second half, you have to go back and refactor the early part. Not a big deal. There's a little bit to be done yet. I want to introduce some command line switches to make it a little bit more robust. At the moment, for example, at the moment, you use an environment variable to determine whether you are going to deploy the package by the SPM, the salt package manager, or whether you're going to do it manually by just copying the state. The upshot of that is that, well, the simplest way of doing it is, of course, once you know which way you want to do it, if you want to use the package, then you run a build, and you end up with an SPM file, package in the /srv/spm/build, underscore build. And so when it comes time to actually run the test rather than the build, what I'm doing at the moment is I'm just checking and seeing if there is a file in that build directory in the Docker image. Then you assume that's to be deployed, and that's the only way you're going to be doing the deployment, which is fine, but it's not as good as if I had actually got a proper flag that was passed in both calls. The one that actually sets the tests up and the one that actually does the tests. That I think that's more robust. It doesn't rely on any sort of implicit knowledge about how the thing's going to be set up. So that's one tweak to do. I'm debating whether to write some shell tests for the test scripts. I don't think it's really necessary. It's not that complicated. Most of the functions are just simple one-liners, and as is my want, the functions are really there just as commenting the code without commenting the code. On that, just now I was messing around with the Python binding for treesitter. I'm really minded to write a generalized autodoc that can extract comments. So you would have a comment block that you would start with, whatever. If it was in a bash script, you might start it with, pound, and then that block of comments would then be considered to be text to be extracted and turned into restructured text. And that could then be generalized, because you could do that with any file for which you had a treesitter parser. Irrespective of any other complexities of the language. Bash, for example, is pretty piss poor because there's not really much you can extract semantically for things like functions to determine types and things, because there's no parameter passing per se. So you're left with, okay, well, I'll write comments. And the best you can really do is say, well, okay, this comment block was directly before a function definition, therefore I'm going to assume that function block is the documentation for that function block. So yeah, so it's limited in that sense. But more generally, it means that anything you can write a simple treesitter parser for, as long as it can identify a comment block, you know, you're good to go. It's just a thought. I'm sure I've seen something before with Sphinx. I know there's an include comment for, I remember the language now, whether it was C or Rust. But anyway, there is already one which kind of almost works that way, but it doesn't use treesitter. It's anyway, that's something else to be thought about. What else? That's it really. It's just been sort of tinkering. I'm reasonably happy with the way the cookie cutter formula is now. I've got to run some tests and make sure it all expands out and runs correctly. Make sure the tests run correctly with a simple formula test. And then we'll see how we go. I might do a walkthrough once I'm happy that it's basically working. I'll do a walkthrough of the way it's set up. Anyway, that's for another day.